This news update is brought to you by
Rock the remote with hours of free karaoke on video on demand from Flow. So bring it like Bay. There's even wonderful kids sing-alongs too. Available anytime. Simply press the VOD button on your Flow remote. This is how we do TV. This is how we flow.
This is the Barbados Today afternoon news update for Monday, January 18. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary Claire Williams. A St. John man is in court today charged with a number of drug offences following his arrest by the drug squad over the weekend. 29-year-old Jody McDonald Watson has been charged with possession of 454.5 kilograms of cannabis, possession with intent to supply, trafficking, importation, disembarking without the consent of an immigration officer, and entering the island other than at a port of entry. Members of the drug squad seized the drug after they intercepted a boat at Concert Bay on Saturday. Police say the individual on board eluded them, and subsequent investigations led to Watson's arrest. Education Minister Ronald Jones wants the public to show some compassion for mothers in the courtyard who support their sons after they've been charged with criminal offences. Jones was responding to criticism of men and women crowding the courtyard to greet the accused. He says despite the crimes the individuals are charged with, their mothers do feel the pain.
And we criticize women when they go to court, when their boy children somehow fall victim to the predators out there in our society, in our villages. And we're saying to ourselves, and we say sometimes on these social media things, well, what I'm down there for? They're down there because they understand that the children have gone astray regardless of the work that they have put into them. But they cannot disconnect. They can't cut the umbilical cord like they do it in the Korea or wherever the babies are born now, or where they were born then in their homes. So don't criticize them. Empathize with them, knowing that the agony they feel is real. And it is not because some photographer is there for them to get their pictures taken. They're not interested in that. They are in pain because of the work that they have done, because of the sacrifices that they have made.
Jones made the comments on the weekend during the 23rd awards ceremony of the Golden Travelers, a musical group made up of mostly women. In other news, talks resumed this afternoon between the Massy Group of Companies and the Barbados Workers Union. The latest round of discussions come on the heels of news this weekend that the number of workers to be let go has been significantly reduced. Consultant to the Barbados Workers Union, Sir Roy Trotman, revealed that 70 workers will now be made redundant. That's a significant drop from the 190 that was previously stated. Sir Roy made the disclosure yesterday evening, shortly after a 2-hour meeting with over 100 Massy workers at the union's Solidarity House headquarters.
So that now we are in fact talking about the layoff of just over 70 persons. And this has been done not purely by skills alone on the part of workers, but it has been done by goodwill on the part of the employer as well, and by the employer being willing to entertain suggestions for some new initiatives which could be taken to affect a different approach to the level of workers on the breadline at a time where the country can ill afford to have more people going off on unemployment and being unable to help their families. This was the biggest concern of the Barbados Workers Union.
Sir Roy also revealed that over 24 workers from Massy supermarkets across the island have volunteered to take separation packages.
The workers have gone the route of accepting that there will be certain levels of volunteers for separation, and we've got 35 persons from the supermarkets across the island that have volunteered to go, and another 18 from what I've just called the home stores. In addition to that, we have been able to make sure that we've taken affirmative action to safeguard the well-being of workers who are differently abled or disabled, depending on the language that people want to use these days to to describe those persons. We have also looked at those who are close to retirement, and there are a few of those, but in instances where they have desired to do so, we will be carrying them for the full duration of their period of employment up until pensionable age.
Prime Minister Frundle Stewart hits back at critics over spending on the island's 50th independence anniversary celebrations. Stewart addressed the issue yesterday morning during the Errol Barrow Memorial Service. He says Barbados has a lot to celebrate this year.
There were people 50 years ago, the record of the show, who said we should not become independent because it's going to cost too much. Because in every society you will find people who know the cost of everything, but who don't know the value of anything. There are still people who will say it costs too much to go to the doctor to monitor their health because they're concerned with the cost of medical care and not with the value of good health. And we find them all over the place. So you should not be surprised that in Barbados today, there are people who have to find something to nibble at, and therefore they're saying that we should not be celebrating 50 years of independence.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union, Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union, Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter, that's the move for me. Stability, prosperity, we're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union, Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union, Cooperative Credit Union.
In news from the region, opposition parties in Trinidad are calling on the government to reconsider changes to the value-added tax. The changes took effect last week, but the Movement for Social Justice and the opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar have some suggestions for the government. More in this TV6 News report.
MSJ political leader David Abdullah is calling on Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley to completely restructure the tax system rather than simply taxing more items.
Corporations that earn above a certain amount in terms of their sales or their annual turnover, above X $100 million as the case may be, that their taxes should be moved up from 25% to 30 or 35%, and then they could earn a tax credit to bring their tax rate down if they are able to invest in research and development.
He also wants tax credits for creating jobs and if companies are bringing in more foreign exchange into the country. Mr. Abdul is also calling on the Consumer Affairs Division to be more transparent with their raw data. Publish the numbers, he says, on prices before and after the new VAT prices come into effect. But former Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar suggests the government should just drop the new VAT-rated items altogether.
Over in Haiti, 6 years after the devastating earthquake, the United Nations says humanitarian action has reaped significant results, but the situation in Port-au-Prince has been deteriorating since June. The Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs says 96% of the 1.5 million displaced people have left camps, but there are still nearly 60,000 people living in camps in vulnerable situations and in need of assistance. The UN said until late 2014, the severe food insecurity decreased considerably and the number of suspected cholera cases had been reduced. But it is now concerned that since June last year, there has been a resurgence in cholera cases. Also, the drought and the effects of El Niño have led to an increase in food insecurity, affecting about 3 million people. In international news, one survivor of the terror attacks in Burkina Faso has been speaking out about his experience. Alassane Bagouian, who is an American citizen, says he did not know if he would survive. Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb has claimed responsibility for the attack, which began on Friday night. We get more in this BBC report.
When I first got the gunshot and all of that stuff, I didn't know that I was still alive. I was thinking that, I'm a dead man.
33-year-old Alassane Baghian had come from New Jersey to debate the future of this country with others determined to see it thrive. But minutes into the meeting, it was brutally brought to an end.
2 people came and they shut the door. Bam! And the bullet who shut the door, that's the same bullet who hit my brother. Yeah. When I stand up, 1 bullet crossed me here and I fall. And the guy saw me, he came with his gun and he shot me by the leg and shot everywhere. And everything went very fast.
And that's the news. Remember, there's more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also tune into Channel 101 on Flow TV or Mix 96.9 FM for more news. I am Marie Claire Williams. Good afternoon.